Are you a business owner or entrepreneur who's had great success in the business world, and now you want to launch a speaking career to share your message with the world? If that's you, then listen up. 25-year speaking industry veteran Brett Ridgway has released his latest special report, 3 key things entrepreneurs must master to build a profitable speaking business. To pick up your copy, go to brettridgway.com/freebie. Welcome to the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway, where you'll learn the keys to building a profitable speaking business from speaking industry pros. Each week, we interview a great guest who will share his or her speaking journey, identify what their keys to success have been, and highlight some critical mistakes they've made along the way that you'll want to avoid. Be sure to visit our website at spotlightonspeaking.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, sit back, tune in, and get ready to meet this week's guest.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway. This is the first interview with my brand new clean-shaven look. I've shed 10 years worth of beard there in the last few days, so it is what it is. But I'm excited to have as my guest today on the show, Sophie Lechner. Sophie's a speaker, author, and business coach who helps mission-driven entrepreneurs turn marketing from a chore into a joy so they can attract clients like a magnet instead of chasing them. Her mastery of LinkedIn over the past 20 years has led to global speaking engagements, including Oxford University, many podcast appearances, and media recognition in both Forbes and Authority magazine. She's developed the Magnet Model, a powerful framework for client attraction, which she shares in her new book, Unlock Your Impact, which is just now coming out in March of this year. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But Sophie, welcome to the Spotlight on Speaking show.
Thank you for having me, Brett. I'm excited to be here.
All right, so let's just roll right back. So you've done speaking for a while, a lot of podcasts and all that, as you said, international things. So did you actually travel to Oxford and deliver it in person?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. Awesome. I can't even claim to be an international speaker, so you're one up on me. So when did you first realize, Sophie, that the speaking is something I should do as a I assume you're using it primarily as a business generating tool?
Yes, definitely. Well, it first started in my previous business that I was doing before the LinkedIn coaching and business coaching, which was helping companies from abroad to enter the US market. And I was definitely not a good speaker, but I knew that I had to, get out there. And I had a partner, there were 2 of us, and he was a, old timer, if you will, like he'd had several businesses before. So in the beginning of our partnership, I always let him talk. And then at some point I said, no, I need to, step up and do some of the speaking myself. So I was terrified. But after a few panic attacks and a lot of coaching, I finally got out there. And it was really fun. It was actually, I've spoken more outside the US than I have in the US because of that. And through my LinkedIn network, we got invitations to speak in different countries where we were interested in finding clients. And so we did partnerships with universities and chambers of commerce and export organizations. And so we did all kinds of speaking there.
So you've definitely been doing speaking as a business building tool. Have you done keynote speaking or selling from the stage type speaking?
No.
Okay.
The speaking I did in these organizations, export organizations and chambers of commerce, et cetera, were, meant to attract people to our programs, but we didn't actually sell, which was a whole thing that I talk about in my book. But so we didn't actually sell, but the idea was to raise awareness of our programs. But I've never done keynote.
So when you're doing that type of speech where you're not directly selling, Sophie, what are you using as a call to action or whatever is working to entice them into your world?
Well, back in the day when I was doing this, I was not really high on my marketing skills, even though I had done marketing in corporate. So I was really using the speaking as sort of raising awareness, but I did not have awareness myself of the need for a call to action or for selling or for inviting people in or any of that. So um, the speaking we did was, I would say, very successful in as a networking tool. We definitely got a lot of connections and met a lot of people, had great conversations, but it was not good in terms of generating sales. And I ended up closing that business.
Now, when you're speaking in an audience of that type, where they basically, the chamber, whatever, has contracted you to bring you in and talk, do you customize the speech for the given audience in some way, or were you delivering a
Mhm.
canned presentation each time?
Yeah, no, it was definitely very tailored, especially because at the time we were, in specific countries. So a lot of what we were saying, of course, a good chunk of it was about the US and the cultural differences and our program, etc. But a lot of it was about the situation in terms of export import between the US and that particular country. So it was customized from that standpoint. And then the other thing that I always like to do is to have some very specific not jokes, but like references to local culture and that how that might differ from the US culture. So I would always bring that in so people could really engage and,
So as you said, Sophie, you didn't really understand the need for call to action early in your
right.
speaking career.
Yeah.
So what did you do, or what worked best for you, if you did, in terms of following up with those people for possible future business?
Mhm. Yeah, so as I said, back in the day, I was very rudimentary marketing at best. And so what we did was collect business cards and then we would send them emails. So that's about the extent of it. And yeah, I look back now, I'm like, oh, all those things I could have done.
It's a it's a never-ending learning curve, baby. It's a
Oh,
never-ending
yes.
learning curve. All right. So when you're going into an organization like that, Sophie, how do you measure whether your message has really hit home or not? Whether you've really resonated with the audience?
Mm. Well, I mean, back then I was just gauging the audience by seeing them, like seeing their reactions in the audience and how they were, nodding and smiling and stuff like that. And then it was by the number of people that came up to us afterwards to speak to us, and so, and swap cards and ask us about the program, etc. So it was more the immediate interaction that gave us a sense of whether it went well or not.
Okay, so as you said, you moved on from the import-export world and you're now doing your own thing. So what are you doing differently now from a speaking perspective than you did back in your early days?
Mm. So right now, I'm not really doing a lot of speaking because I've focused on my book. My book is out. I've prepared a talk. I've given it at Oxford and, another place where it was more around practicing. So I am looking for speaking engagements, and the goal is really to get my book out there and the principles in my book out there. And the calls to action will be, either buy the book from, the back of the room, and or sign up for my programs, which I am currently crafting.
All right, so what is the go-to topic now for a speech?
Mm. So it's all about my audience is entrepreneurs who hate marketing. What I have found in my, years of coaching LinkedIn and coaching entrepreneurs in their marketing is that they hate marketing. It's the way it is taught is very uncomfortable. It's not aligned with their values, and so they find themselves doing tactics and programs that feel wrong. And so they end up just withdrawing from it or doing it. So either not doing it or doing it in a way that is so icky for them that they just will do the things and then withdraw, right? And the key thing about business is really building relationships. And so they're withdrawing from that. And that's why I called my book Unlock Your Impact, because I'm working with entrepreneurs who really are passionate about the change they want to make in the world and how they want to support people. And they have all this expertise and wisdom that is stuck inside of them, locked up because they are not able to get over the hump of the marketing. And so I have found a method through working with so many entrepreneurs over time. I found a way to do marketing that is aligned with your values and that really brings this part of you that comes out when you're in front of a client, where your passion and expertise comes out, and it takes that and this joy of your client work and brings it into your marketing. So the marketing completely feels different, and we do it in a completely different way, which I explain in my book. So that's what the talk is about now.
Awesome. So, as we've talked about, you are a LinkedIn expert, and I want to dive into that a little bit deeper here. But before
Mhm.
we do, let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsor.
Are you a business owner or entrepreneur who's had great success in the business world, and now you want to launch a speaking career to share your message with the world? If that's you, then listen up. 25-year speaking industry veteran Brett Ridgway has released his latest special report, 3 key things entrepreneurs must master to build a profitable speaking business. To pick up your copy, go to brettridgway.com/freebie.
And we are back with the Spotlight on the Speaking Show and my guest, Sophie Lechner. So, Sophie, LinkedIn is certainly one of your sweet spots. So, let's look at this from this world of speakers and how they should be using LinkedIn. What are they doing wrong? What are they doing right? Give us some suggestions on how a speaker can make LinkedIn most impactful for helping growing their speaking business.
Right. So what a lot of people don't realize is the power of LinkedIn. Like a lot of people put a lot of effort on their website and their communication tools, if you will, but LinkedIn is really the best way to showcase what you have to offer. It's like a business card on steroids. So what a lot of people don't do is really maximize their profile. And there's 2 kinds of people: those who use LinkedIn and those who don't. Now, all the people who don't use LinkedIn need to realize that when people Google your name, your LinkedIn is the first thing that comes up. So if you don't have one, then that's okay. But most people have a profile, but it's just tumbleweeds over there. So you're giving a really bad impression if you don't have a good profile. So having a solid profile is the first thing. And beyond that, what is missing a lot is your mission and your passion. A lot of people just have LinkedIn as a resume, if you will, or a very dry description, even sometimes in the third person, which is really out of date now. And so really infusing who you are as a person and what you care about and what you do and the outcome of what you do is very much missing on a lot of LinkedIn profiles. And then, of course, content is a huge opportunity. Every time, so I see people who are writing a blog on their website, and that's it. So it's like, how many people are going to see that? But on LinkedIn, you can write articles and posts, and you could potentially have thousands and thousands of people see that. So using content to reach your audience is definitely, a tool that should be used. I mean, it's a waste not to.
The first thing you said there was have a solid profile. So, what makes for a solid profile?
All right. So a solid profile is you have starting from the basics, a portrait of you with a smiley and engaging face. You'd be amazed at how many people look so stuck up in their picture. And make sure it fills up the circle, because on LinkedIn, it's going to be very small and people look at LinkedIn on their phone. And so, but then you have the banner. So use that real estate. It's an image that you really can use to show off. If you have a book, if you're a speaker, definitely have yourself speaking on stage. That automatically gives you a lot of credibility when people see you, that you're a speaker. And then you have your headline, which you really need to, in a few words, really convey the key of what you're doing. Then your about section, again, you have so much, there's 2,600 characters. That's several paragraphs to really convey what you care about, who you are as a person. And then something that's often overlooked is the power of the featured section. You can feature posts. It's like having a shop window, basically. So you could feature posts, articles, your website, your speaking engagements, your book. Did I already say that? Podcast episodes. I mean, this episode is going to be up on my featured section. You can refresh it often. So yeah, those are the things. And then another piece that's important is recommendations. Having a bunch of recommendations on your LinkedIn.
One thing that I've been using LinkedIn for pretty effectively is using it for putting out a couple of different newsletters.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they promote it for you. The beauty of the way I do it is that they're collated newsletters, so I'm not writing the content myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a newsletter out called the Buzzworthy Book Bulletin, and another one
Mm-hmm.
called Spotlight on Speaking Newsletter. And again, the
Mm-hmm.
content's collated. They bring you the subscribers almost, and it doesn't cost you anything, and it just takes a little bit of
Yep.
time to put together the content. So I would highly encourage speakers to look at putting out a newsletter in their area of expertise on LinkedIn also.
Yep, absolutely. It's a great tool.
So now I get to the okay, it's time to bare your soul a little bit here, Sophie, and
Uh-oh.
share some embarrassing moment from your speaking career
Uh-oh.
that maybe left you a little bit red-faced at the time, but a valuable lesson was learned, and it would be something that you would highly advise others not to do.
Hmm.
And you cannot say I didn't have a call to action. We've already covered that.
Yes, thank you for that. Well, I guess sometimes you are at a speaking event and you don't have the opportunity to have slides or the technology to have what's it called? The teleprompter. And yeah, so you have to memorize what it is you're going to say. And sometimes when you memorize, the downfall is you have a blank. So that has happened to me, and it is quite embarrassing to be up there on stage with some people in the room, and you're like, what was it I was gonna say?
But I found, Sophie, that, you've got to recognize that, a 2-second blank to you feels like 2 minutes, but to the audience, they barely even notice it.
Yes, yes. So taking a few steps and looking down in a very thoughtful manner can get you out of that because it looks like you're about to make a great point.
There you go.
Beyond that, it becomes a little embarrassing, but yes, I've had those.
All right, so you've got this new book out called Unlock Your Impact. So tell folks, if you would, Sophie, a little bit more about what it's about and how they can find out more about it and get involved into your world if they so choose.
Mhm. Yeah, so in the Unlock Your Impact book, I share the magnet model, which is the model that I came up with after I had done some coaching of entrepreneurs on LinkedIn for a couple of years, and everybody kept telling me, you are showing us and telling us so much more than just LinkedIn. So what we do with you goes so much beyond just learning how to use the platform. So I was excited by that, but I didn't understand what it was, and they couldn't tell me. So I did some research down into the weeds of what I had taught, and I discovered a few principles that were really key. And once I put them in a model and started to um, purposefully, if you will, use the model with my clients, the difference it made in their business was even bigger than before. And not only that, they started really enjoying their marketing, which I find is really the key, right? Because if you don't do something, I mean, if you hate doing something, you're gonna either stop doing it or you're gonna push and continue doing it and burn out. Which is one of the things that I describe happened to me when I speak. So the magnet model is the center of the book, and I explain how to apply it. And people have really, really enjoyed it. I've gotten, I don't know, at this point I have about 50 reviews, and it came out last week. And people are really enjoying it. I also created a workbook to help people really apply all the principles themselves. And so it's a very intense 200-page workbook.
Wow.
And yeah. So so if you want to find out more about the book, you can type Unlock Your Impact in Amazon, on Amazon, or you can go to my website, themagnetmodel.com/book, and you'll learn about the book, and you can, find out if you're not in the US where to click to buy it. And yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, congratulations on the new book. So any final words of wisdom for folks about LinkedIn or about improving their speaking game or whatever area you want to go to?
Mm. So I would say if you have hesitations or discomfort with your marketing, um, think about your clients and put yourself in the situation that you're in when you have a client in front of you, and channel that generosity that you have when you are there to help them, and take that and create your content or whatever your marketing is. Bring that energy into the marketing arena, and then it will completely change the dynamics that you have with your marketing, and it will help. And then read the book for more details.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sophie, for being my guest on this episode of the Spotlight on Speaking show. I wish you the greatest of success with your new book and everything you got going on there. And of course, to all the listeners out there, thank you for joining us today. As always, I wish you the best, and may this year be your greatest year yet. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
This has been the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway. Be sure to join us every week as we interview speaking industry pros and have them share their best tips for building a profitable speaking business. Until next week, thank you for tuning in, and remember to visit our website at spotlightonspeaking.com so you can enjoy even more great episodes like this one. While you're here, be sure to subscribe via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Spotlight on Speaking show. Until then, our sincere best wishes to you for the greatest of success as you work to build your own profitable speaking business.